Hi, hello everyone. Hello, good evening, Kaurani, good evening. So we can start a session now. Hello everyone. So this session has been, so we are taking a class on Zoom as well as we are launching this in the YouTube channel also. I have launched a poll. So can you see whether I'm audible or not? Is my screen visible? Is it click yes or no? Is my teacher's presentation, is it visible? Is my presentation? And am I audible clearly? Let's see whether I'm audible or not. See whether I'm audible. Audio, is it clear? So do not turn on the video, students. Yeah. So I'm clear. In the last class, I told about the just a little introduction about these relations. Today we'll continue from here. Okay. And my name is Bharat. My name is Bharat and I teach mathematics. So I belong to the Savanthi Fellows organization. Okay. So today the first chapter will be discussing is relations and the functions, where we revise about what is this relation which you studied in the last in the 11th class. Last class I saw just briefed about it and what are its types, and also we will discuss about the functions. So and see the types of functions. Okay. Well, shall I start the class? Is every participant came? So those who still unable to see my hear my voice, can you click on this call over internet option? There you will get, then only you can hear my voice. Click on this call over internet option in the Zoom classes. For YouTubers, I think you can comment on the live chat comment. You can type. I can see. And then mainly you click on this chat option and you can keep typing. So Chetan. Chetan, click on this call over internet option. Praveen, Ridan, you need to click on this call over internet option so that you can hear. Yeah, so done. So if you recall, what are the things, the types of the relations that we discussed here is, I'll just a brief about, because the YouTube viewers also there here. The types of relation. Understand this part. So this we discussed about the empty relation. There are 5 types are there, and we have discussed about the universal relation, the reflex relation, symmetric, and transitive. What are the types of relations that you come across? Chetan, Mallikarjun, you need to click on call over internet option. Your mic is not visible. You cannot see, cannot hear my voice. So can you tell me in the chat box what is this? All the 3, like if any relation is reflexive, symmetric, and transitive, what do we call this one? What do we call this one? Can you write in the chat box? Nandan is telling it is equivalence. So what type of relation when we if it is a reflexive, symmetric as well as transitive? If any relation is reflexive, symmetric, and transitive, that relation we call it as an equivalence relation. Very good, Apurva, Shiva, Prakash, Tejas, so many things are telling. So can you identify the given question here? The given question. So this is a recall test I'm giving. So let's say this is the first question, this is second one. You need to answer here in the chat box which of the following is correct. The first one I'll explain here. The relation is less than. Remember, the relation is the less than symbol is used. It means the relation R if we call, so A is less than B. So that's how we define the relation. And A and B belongs to, where A comma B, it belongs to the natural numbers N. So this A comma B, it belongs to natural numbers N. So then which of the following is correct? Can you solve this first question and answer in? Can you solve this first question and comment in the chat box? The relation R is defined as less than relation, that is A is less than B, where A and B belongs to the natural numbers. Is it reflexive, symmetric, transitive? Which of the following is correct? Like you can write in the chat box or in the live chat, the students can also mention. Transitive, only transitive. Is it only transitive? Yes. Okay. Okay, the first one is only transitive. I'm getting the answer. So let's see. The first one, if you calculate the each and everything, whether it is this is the first question. Yeah, only transitive. Okay, very good students. The only transitive you are getting. So let's try. Like why is only transitive? Because if A is equal to A less than B, and A where A and B belongs to natural numbers, if you keep on checking for the reflexive, whether it is reflexive or not, A is less than A. So it is not reflexive, right? We cannot say A is less than A. And is it symmetric? Suppose A is less than B, so will it imply if A is less than B, if it is belonging to the relation, will it imply B is less than A also belongs to relation? Is it true? No, right? So this cannot happen. So hence it does not belongs to the right answer. Hence it is not symmetric and it is not reflexive also. And if you calculate for a transitive part, like if A is less than B and if A is less than B belongs to R and B is B less than C satisfies this relation. If A is less than B and B is less than C, will it imply A is also less than C? Or will it imply A comma C belongs to R? Is it true? Yes. So this is the right one. So hence the correct answer is only transitive. It is not reflexive, it is not symmetric, it is only the transitive. Yeah, try for the next one, students. The next parts that I have written here. The next question, second one. The first answer is only transitive is correct. Second question. Second one. Try this question. Second. Comment it in the and write your opinion in the chat box. So which of the following options are right? If this is the R, symmetric, transitive, or reflexive, we need to check all the three and then try. So I'm getting so many correct answers here. Okay, students, very good. So option C. Yeah. Okay, we can consider this option C. So now if you see this, the question, and try for the reflexive. Is it reflexive? Like because there is a three sets are there, 1, 2, 3, and all the three are present. That is A1, 1 comma 1 is present, 2 comma 2 is present, 3 comma 3 is present, and each element we have a reflexive ordered pairs are present here. Hence we can say it is a reflexive. Hence it is reflexive is correct. The reflexive is correct here. Is it symmetric? Check for symmetry. The reflexive is correct because 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, 3. These ordered pairs are present in the given relation, hence it is correct. Whereas it is not symmetric, they're telling. Why? Because so 1, 2 is belonging to R, but in order to say it is symmetric, 2, 1 should also belongs to R, right? But this is not belonging to this relation. Hence it is not symmetric. Is it transitive? Is it transitive, students? Yes. So because 1, 2 is present and 2, 3 is also present, belongs to R. So these two things belonging to R. So this implies 1, 3 must belong to R. Yes, it belongs. So this is transitive. So the transitive part is correct. Hence, if you see which of the following options are right, it means it is reflexive but not symmetric will be the right answer. And it is not symmetric but only transitive is correct. So option C becomes wrong. And whereas option B, the reflexive but not transitive. So this is wrong actually. It is reflexive and also transitive. Whereas option D says neither symmetry nor transitive. Even this is wrong because symmetric is wrong correct, but it is transitive. Hence among the given option A is the correct one. Is this clear? Option A is the right one. Do you have any doubt in these two questions? So write it in the chat box that if you have any doubt, I could explain. Otherwise, I could move on. Yeah, no, sir. So I've given another question set for you. Try this one. So the next set of questions, another you can consider this as a third one and this as fourth one. So try this solving the third and fourth option. Yeah, hello Vikas, what Soumit is telling? So Tejas. Third one. So mention the question number and you can write. You can comment the answers. Mention the question number, that is whether it is 3, which options are right. See, fourth one actually you can see there is a multiple answer right. There is a fourth one you can neglect as of now because the multiple answers are right. Only focus on third one. For the third question, yeah, okay, right. So we'll solve third question. The void relation. So what is the definition of this void relation, or you can say the empty relation? The void or the empty relation, we call this as R on the set A. So it means this set can be any set, any general set is given. For the set A, the relation R is defined as null set. This is a subset of the, the Cartesian product A cross A. So this is a null set. There is nothing here. So this null set, so check for the reflexive, check for whether it is symmetric, and check for whether it is transitive or not. For the third question, is it reflexive? Now the discussion. Is it reflective, students? For the void set, R is there, so it is a null set. Is it reflexive? Yes or no? This set has been not given, but you can consider this as a general set where it has elements are there. So in order to say reflexive, this A comma A, so must be present in the relation for every A belonging to the set A. So since this is not present, because it's a null set, this is not present, hence it is not reflexive. This is not reflexive because This A comma A is not present in the relation R for every element belonging to A. This A as an elements are there, which may not be given, that you can consider. There are multiple elements are there, like 1, 2, 3 and all. Yeah. So is it symmetric? Third one B. That is very good. So third one B. That's the right answer because it's symmetric and transitive. Symmetric forms the right answer. Why? Because so if A comma B belongs to R, then only this implies B comma A must belong to R for every element A comma. But this is not present, so we do not consider whether B comma A belong or not. So since this itself is not present, so there is no need to check for B comma A belonging to R. So hence directly we can tell this is symmetric. Similarly for transitive also, it is true. For a void set, the correct answer is option B. Is it fine? See, for a third one, there is the question is there's a mistaken. Okay, understand the question. For a reflexive part, in order to say it is reflexive or not, so it is reflexive because for each element, so we have this ordered pair A comma A present for each element 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have these ordered pairs present. Hence, this reflexive one is correct. Whereas if you consider the next one, whether it is symmetric or not, so check whether it is symmetric or not. If we consider this 1 comma 2 present here and check for whether 2 comma 1 present or not, hence it is yes, it is present here. And there exists a 3 comma 1. Check for 1 comma 3 present or not, yes, it is present here. Hence this is symmetric. Yes, so it is reflexive as well as symmetric we got. And the last part you consider for transitive. Whether it is transitive or not. Now the question comes, now you can comment in the chat box. Now you can comment in the chat box. Please check further whether it is the given function is transitive or not. Yes or no? No or yes. So multiple correct answers, multiple answers are getting here because. So why it is no? If they are telling no, so why it is no? Yes or no? So why it is no? Many says yes. The one who told no. Can you tell me explain? Can you explain why it is no? Because see, so let's take an element, correct? So let's take an element 2 comma 2 and you consider other one like, or you can take 1 comma 2, 3, isn't it? Consider this 3 comma 2 and 2 comma 3 are not present. Yes, since you can see that will it satisfy transitive or not. 1 comma 2 is there and 2 comma 1 is there. So this implies 1 comma 1 is also present. It also belongs to R. Similarly, we need to check for other things like, So since 3 comma 1 is there and 1 comma 3 is there, so this implies 3 comma 3 is also present. And is there any other set of things where we cannot find the relation? So there is no such. Yeah, so option D becomes right. So it is symmetric, transitive. Okay. So hence the given the right option, if it is satisfies everything like reflexive, symmetric, and transitive, so then that we call it as a equivalence relation. So we'll get an equivalence relation. Okay then. So these are the conditions you need to remember as of now. That so what is symmetric and what is here? Yeah. So these are the things you need to remember. The empty set, the condition is it will be an null set, and if it is what about universal set, it should include each and everything. The set of all ordered place it looks like this is a Cartesian product. So that itself is a relation that we call it as a universal relation. And reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. Just now you saw all these things. So that's all about this relation. So now let's solve some questions based on this. Here you need to apply what are the concepts that you learned in this in here. Okay. Yeah. So I displayed the question. So let's solve this first question. So determine whether the given following is whether it is reflexive, symmetric, or transitive. We need to check here. So let's solve this first question, and the second question you can consider it as an homework. Yeah. So now try this first question and check whether it is reflexive or not. So is it reflexive? Is it reflexive? You can easily find whether it is reflexive or not. Whether 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3, everything need to be present. Is it present in the given relation? The relation is defined here. The relation is the ordered place, the set of ordered place x comma y, such that 3x minus y is equal to 0. Exactly correct. So if this is the relation defined, then we need to just find out what are the ordered place that you'll get x comma y just by substituting x and y the values here. Like take 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. as x values and check what are the y values you'll get. And these together, both x and y should belongs to this not set like only x and y. So this belongs to the set A. So but in the last way, this 5 if you substitute, then will get an answer like this does not belongs to A. You can eliminate that 5. So only these parts will get. That is the set of all the ordered pairs which forms the relations are 1, 3, 2, 6, 3, 9, and 4, 12. Is it fine? Yeah. So have you understood how so we form this set of ordered pairs? So I'll explain this once again. So listen to me very carefully. The question is, so determine whether the given following, let's say this is the first question, whether it is reflexive, symmetric, or transitive. So what has been given? There is a set A has been given, so which is defined as the set of numbers like 1, 2, 3, and so on up to 14. And there is a relation has been defined here. That relation is the set of ordered place x comma y such that 3x minus y is equal to 0. So set A is there, relation has been defined. Let's write the relation R in the form of ordered pairs 1, 3, and in the form of ordered pairs. For that, we need to use this method. Like take the x which belongs to set A and y should also belongs to set A. The set x the x values which are taken from set A can be substituted here and find the y values and write it in the ordered form so that you'll get this relation, that is R. So later, just by remembering what is the definition of reflexive, that is A comma A must be belonging. It means 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2, and 14 comma 14. So these all things should be should be present, but it is not present here. Hence, it is neither reflexive. That's correct. What about symmetric? So if you recall from the symmetric definition, if A and B are related, this implies B and A should also be relation. If A is related to B, then B should also be related. So it is whether it is related or not. If you consider one example like 1 comma 1, 1 comma 1 is present in the relation, but 3 comma 1 is not present in the relation. Is it fine? Hence, it is not a symmetric. And lastly, if you consider that whether it is transitive or not, A or B, that is A is related to B and B is related to C. So check whether A is related to C or not for every element of ABC. If you take one example, that is 1 comma 3 and 3 comma 9, which are belonging to R, then 1 comma 9 does not belongs to R, right? So this does not belong to R. Hence, it is not transitive. Yeah. So very good. So it is neither symmetric nor it is not reflexive nor symmetric and not transitive. And you could solve this second question as an homework. Okay, you could try this as a homework and later, and or write it in for YouTubers. You can write it in the chat box in the later sections, or comment what is your answer, whether it is reflexive, symmetric, or transitive. Yeah. So let's move ahead and try this question. Try solving this question. Yeah. So what answers you will get? Let me see. So check whether the given relation, the relation is R, which is we are taken from the set of real numbers, where how R is related. So R the given relation is the set of ordered pairs, that is A comma B, which is defined as A is less than or equal to B cube. Is this reflexive? Is it symmetric? Is it transitive? That you need to try now. So post your answers in this live chat. Is it reflexive? Amit is telling it is reflexive, not transitive, neither reflexive. Is it so? So let's verify. You can verify the answers here. Okay. So this is the relation that is defined. That is the ordered pair A comma B, which is defined as A is less than or equal to B cube. Take any. It is defined for a set of real numbers, right? You can take any real number. Let's consider 1 by 2, which is nothing but 0.5. Is 0.5 less than or equal to 0.5 whole cube? Is it true or is it true? It's not, right? So if you take this example, 1 by 2 is less than, so this is not correct. Hence, this is not present in the relation. Hence, it is not reflexive. Very good. Check for a symmetric. If you consider 1 comma 3, which definitely belongs to R, because 1 is less than or equal to 3 cube. So this will satisfy. But if you consider 3 comma 1, will it belong to the relation R? So it does not belong. The reason is 3 less than or equal to 1 cube will not satisfy the relation. So it is not actually correct. Hence, it is not symmetric. Yeah, very good, Ashwini. It is not symmetric. Very good, students. Let's consider this transitive one. You know, these two are taken and it will satisfy. If we consider 3 comma 3 by 2 and 3 by 2 comma 6 by 5, this will belong to R. But the reason is because 3 is less than or equal to 1 by 3 by 2, that is 1.5 whole cube. Yeah, it is more than 3. And similarly, other one also. But if you consider 3 and 6 by 5, if you consider 3 and 6 by 5 as an example, so this does not belongs to the relation. Why? Because it does not satisfy our condition that is given here. So hence it is not transitive. If any one element or any one ordered pair which does not satisfy means, so then we cannot conclude it is transitive or not. So we can, if any one thing does not satisfy, yeah, it does not satisfy, then we can say it is not transitive. So it is not symmetric, not reflexive, or not transitive also will get. Okay, I have done enough for you. So now it's time for you to solve, and very quickly you need to say the answers. Yeah, so try this one. So I'll read a question for you. So what is L? So L is the set of all lines. It is the set of all lines. What is R? R is the relation. How it is defined? It is defined as, yeah, the ordered pairs L1 comma L2 such that L1 is parallel to L2. Okay, the ordered pair is such that L1 is parallel to L2. Now show that you need to prove whether it is the reflexive, symmetric, or transitive. If it is all the things are correct, then you can say it is equivalence relation. So now you need to check for, is it reflexive, is it symmetric, is it transitive? Try this one. So what answers you are getting? So the R is defined as ordered pair L1 is parallel to L2. L1 is parallel to L2. So Nandan is started telling answer it is equivalence. Try finding the step by step, that is check whether it is reflexive or not. Is it reflexive? If the line, the L1, Chetan, tell me if, yeah, so the line L1 is parallel to itself only. Yes, it is reflexive because if we take one line, so whether it is parallel or not, yes, it is parallel to itself. Hence, the reflexive relation will satisfy. The reflexive condition will satisfy. Is it symmetric? The next part. If L1 is parallel to L2, can you say L2 is also parallel to L1? If L1 is parallel to the line L2, yeah, we can also say that L2 is also parallel. Hence this is a symmetric condition will also satisfy. That is correct. What about transitive? Here you need to consider 3 lines. If L1 is parallel to L2 and consider another line such that L2 is parallel to L3, can you say L1 is parallel to L3? Yeah, so we can say this one, right? So if L1, so now since all the 3 conditions are satisfying, exactly, so then, so it is transitive. There is another, so what is the conclusion that you can draw? Hence R is an equivalence relation. So that's what they given here, the equivalence relation. Now, so the next thing is, you need to find the set of all the lines related to the line y is equal to 2x plus 4. Okay, already given answers are. So what is the slope of this line? Exactly, right? CL. So if we could draw the graph, so this, let's say this is the point 4, and so we're getting a line here. So this is the line that y is equal to, so f of y is equal to 2x plus 4. So since the slope is 2 and the parallel lines have the same slope, so you need to have a parallel lines that you need to draw here, all the parallel lines. So if you write a general way, like only this is given, but what about others? If you write in the general way, the slope remains same, but only intercept changes. Hence you can write y is equal to 2x plus c, where c is the a constant, or you can say the y-intercept here. The y-intercept keeps on changing for each and every lines. Is it clear? So do you have any questions till now? The things that we discussed about, so the reflexive, symmetric, and transitive one. If you have any question, you can ask now. Yeah. Okay. So there are no questions. So now let's move on to learn about the next concept, that is the equivalence class. In the relation, the topic I told about what is relation, and then so which one version? Which question? Which part you want to explain once again? Is it this one? Have you understood this part? That is R is equal to R is an equivalence relation. After that, there is another set. You need to find the set of all the lines related to Y. You need to find the set of all the lines related to the line Y is equal to 2x plus 4. Hence, so what are those lines? How it is related? First, you observe here. So there is a word relation. So how it is related? It is related based on the definition given. That is parallel. So it is related. The lines are parallel. So find out what are the lines which are parallel, general way, parallel to this. All the parallel lines. So which are parallel to y is equal to 2x plus 4. So how to find? All the parallel lines have the same slope, that is 2. Hence, the general way of writing is y is equal to 2x plus the constant only. This is the c only changes, intercept. This is if c is equal to 4, then this is the line that you'll get. If you have to keep on generate to this line, all the lines are parallel here. Understood? Hmm. So now I was telling about the equivalence class. So recall what we learnt about the equivalence relation first. The equivalence relation is on the set A. Okay. If we are defining the equivalence relation on the set A, so it will be a subset of the Cartesian product A comma A cross A. So which satisfies it is reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. This relation A will be the subset of the Cartesian product. Cartesian product is a set that will get all the ordered pairs. So now, so what is the equivalence class? The meaning is, so like it is represented as the square bracket will write the equivalence class of X. That's what you read. So which is defined as it is a set only. So it is also a set where we are writing only the Y values. That is such that X comma Y belongs to R. If we consider this X comma Y, which is an belongs to R, what is R? R is the equivalence relation. Then the equivalence relation of X is nothing but the corresponding Y value. All the Y you need to write here. That is, let's say Y1, Y2, Y3, and so on. So these Y terms you need to write. So then that forms an equivalence class. Is it clear? So we can explain in the by taking an example. Understand this one. So this does not form an equivalence relation. So we have to make this one as an equivalence relation. Consider an example, and the relation R is defined as so 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2, 3, 4, everything is there. So check whether the given thing is reflexive or not. Is it reflexive? Can you write in the chat box? Is it reflexive? Arun Kumar. If you have any doubt, you can ask. You can write in the chat box only. Keep writing all your doubts in the chat box. Okay, the students are telling it is reflexive because if the set A has 4 elements, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and its reflexive ordered pairs are 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and 4, 4, everything is present in the relation R. Hence, it is reflexive. The reflexive is correct. What about symmetric? Is it symmetric? Yeah, so it is a symmetric. So because 1, 2 is present, 1, 2 is present. So this implies 2, 1 is also present and belongs to R. And if 2, 3 are present, like if 2, 3 belongs to R, so this implies 3, 2 also belongs to R. That is correct. So symmetric also satisfies. Is it transitive? First one. The given relation is not transitive, correct. So we have to make it transitive. In order to say, so it is not transitive, that's a very good, correct. Because 1, 2 if we consider, and this does not imply, so this does not imply 1, 3 belonging to R. So hence this is not a transitive. Let's make it transitive and I'll write 1, 3. So now I added 1, 3. So is it transitive now? I added 1, 3 in the relation. So is it transitive now? Yes. So it became transitive. So now I'll write this is transitive. So now is it equivalent relation? So in the chat box only keep writing. Is it equivalence relation, yes or no? Now the new R. So this is new R. For the new R, is it equivalent relation? So students are still confused. So they're telling yes only they're telling. How it becomes equivalence relation? Right? Because there is an R here. So it does not satisfy the symmetric condition, right? See here. Because 1, 1, 3 I have added here. See if 1, 3 is present. If 1, 3 is present, that belongs to R. So this does not imply 3, 1 is present. This does not imply 3, 1 is present here. So we should add 3, 1 also, correct. So still it is not an equivalence relation, but so hence I'll write this, I'll add 3, 1 in order to make it symmetric. In order to make symmetric, I added 3, 1. So is it equivalence now? Shall I close this one? Yeah. Is it equivalent? Done. So many telling yes. So this forms an equivalent relation. Added other two terms in order to make it equivalent. Yes, that is 3, 1 I added and 1, 3 also I added in order to make it equivalent. So this is the relation R is defined. So now, so let's find out what is this equivalence class. That is, we need to write the equivalence class of X. Let's say if the question given, find the equivalence class of 1, then what is the answer that will give? The equivalence class of 1. So it means we need to first identify all the ordered pairs where the 1 is present. In order to find equivalence class of 1, all the ordered pairs where X contains 1. X is equal to 1 here, where so 1, 1 is there, 1, 2 is there, and then 1, 3 is there. So these are the set where we have 1, that is X is equal to 1. So now we need to write all the ordered pairs where Y is present, like we need to write only Y, 1, 2, 3. Hence this forms an equivalence relation, means equivalence class. x is equal to 1, 2, 3. So what is the equivalence class of 1? It is 1, 2, 3. So now can you write? So what is the equivalence class of 2? So write it in the chat one. Equivalence class of 2. So give a comment the equivalence class of 2. 2, 1, 3. Yeah, right. So 2, 1, 3 or 1, 2, 3, you can write anything. That is correct. That is, so here also equivalence class of 2 is given by. So identify where 2 are there. Like 2 is here, 2 is here, and then 2 is here. So we need to write only y. That is 3, 1, and 3. It means 1, 2, 3. So this is how you need to find. So on the last part, so can you identify what is the equivalence class of 4? Last question. Equivalence class of 4. So none then 4. So where 4 is there? There is only one here. 4 is there. And then what is the element that you need to write? Just one. That is 4. So the equivalence class of 4 is 4. Yeah, 4 only. Very good. So this is a set. So the equivalence class is nothing but a set. Yeah. So very good, students. So this is how you need to find the equivalence class. And so that's all about the relation that we discussed from the last class to till now, the relations that we discussed. So you can refer some questions in the NCERT books for more practices that are, so exercise 1.1 is there, no? That you could practice. And if you have any doubt, you can you can comment in the chat box. And then, so there's an Avanti module also is there, where you could try the in-class exercise and homework questions are there. And you could see, and some of the in-class exercise has been, yeah, we'll share this module thing that will be shared in the group, WhatsApp group is there, no? There we'll share the module. So yeah, so there you could practice these questions. So I'll take a break, drinks break. You also take a break now. So yeah, I will send the module. And I'll send the module in the group. For just a less than 1 minute break. Thirty to 40 seconds only. Have a drink. So I'll drink water. I'll stand up or sit down. It's a long class now. From morning you are listening. So just take a break. Drink water for a minute. I'll also drink. Yeah. So done. So we continue from here. So the next topic that we discuss is functions. So in the relations and functions chapter, so now let's focus on understanding what is this function and what is the type and what are the types of the function, or you can also class what are these classifications. So relation is a small topic in the 12th class, but function is a big one. So this you need to focus more and understand what is this function. Okay. And this is an important one for the upcoming classes or the next. Tejas, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay, this functions chapter. So what are the things that we are going to discuss in today's class is, okay. Yeah, yes, Tejas, we can add all the pairs. Yeah. because that is just one equivalence relation that we got. And if you are keep on adding, and you can add all the pairs, and even that is just a equivalence class, equivalence relation. Okay, the functions chapter, functions and its types. In today, we'll be discussing understanding about what is a function, and then we'll understand how do we represent a function, and we'll understand what are the types of function in today's class. Tomorrow we solve more questions on this. Today, in the next class we'll solve more one. Today we just understand the concept behind with a little example. So what is function according to you? So what? How do you remember? I tell how I remember. Yes, Tejas, again, if you have any doubts, you can write. You can comment in the chat box. Yeah, it will change. For a set, so for any set, 1, 2, 3, or anything, so the equivalence class can be not just one. Yes, equivalence class changes depending on the relation. So hence, if the relation R1 is an equivalence relation, the equivalence relation, and if relation R2 is equal, again one more equivalence relation. So when you are defining the equivalence class for this R1, so that is different from when you are defining the equivalence class here for the R2 relation. Okay, the equivalence class changes here depending on what relation you are defining for. Is it clear? So that's the doubt actually I got. To explain the doubt. So for a set A, for any set, so what about the equivalence relation? Equivalence relation can be many. Okay, for any set. So this is also a equivalence relation. And if you define some other equivalence relation, we can get many equivalence relation. And the last equivalence relation that you actually will get is that is A cross A. That is the all the set of ordered pairs that you'll get. No? That is A, the Cartesian product A by A. And if you keep on identifying what is the equivalence class of R1 will be different from equivalence class of R2, and that will be different from equivalence class for R3. It will vary. So let's come back and understand what is this function. So I given a machine. It is I generally remember it as a machine where we give input, we'll get an output. That's what the function is. So how do you remember the function? Can you give me some example? I'll give one example considering the fan and the regulator. So if you want to increase the speed of the regulator, if you increase the rotate this regulator, the speed of the fan will increase. It means you are giving the input here. You are giving the input here, and you are expecting the output. So what is the output? The speed, increasing the speed. So that's what the function is. And the Abhishek is listing mixer. Yeah, correct. So the mixer, like if you consider uh, fruits here, okay, if you consider some fruit, and you are giving this is an input, and what you should do, you should grind. You will tell, so grind this one. So if you mix everything in the juicer, so what actually you'll get? In the end, you will get juice, right? The mixer. So this mixer acts as the function, and the grinder or the mixer or juicer, where the fruits you add here and turn on, you'll get an output as juice. Very good. So these are the examples. So that machine that we have, that is a function. Like the grinder is a function. Why? Because this machine or anything. So this is well defined. So what has to be done is defined for the is well defined. So that's why the function is also well defined. So what needs to be done is defined, and we have an input and we can expect an output. So as given in the inside box, if we recall what is the function. So it is also a type of relation. Okay. The function is nothing but the type of relation where the relation f from the set A to set B. If you are operating from set A to set B, then this relation we call it as a function. So there is a condition. So when we call that as a function, if every element of X, if every element of set A has one and only one image in set B. Okay, if every element of set A should be there and it should have one and only one image in set B. So then that we call it, that relation we call it as a function. And this function is also represented as an ordered pair X comma Y. And symbolically we can write F such that A to B. So this A we call it as a domain. So this A we call it as a domain, and this B we call it as a codomain. Is this clear? Functions? Can you able to recall from the 11th class the functions chapter? The mapping from A to B. The function maps from A to B. Correct. So now, if you know these functions that is from the 11th class, can you identify? I have given a 3 relations here: the relation 1, the relation 2, the relation 3. So now, so among our 1, 2, 3 relations, which one is the function? Can you able to identify the function here? Apply the definition of the function, that is, every element in set A has one and only image in set B. Apply this definition and identify which of the following is a function. Is it 1, 3 or both 1 and 3? Getting multiple answers. I'm telling 1 is also correct. Is it so? 2, 3. Yeah. So let's say the answers only 3 or answer 1 or 1 and 3 or both are right. Let's understand 1. Okay. Okay, students. Let's see whether 1 is correct or not. See, we know there is this is the set A and this is the set B has been given, and there is a points 1, 2, 3 as there. So what is the definition says? Every element of set A should have one and only one image of set B. So is every element of set A has one and only one image? This arrow mark indicates the image, the relationship between A and B. So 1 is related to Q, 3 is related to R, 4 is related to S, like that. This arrow mark indicates the relationship between 1 and A. So is every element defined? This is not a function because 2 does not have any relationship with anything. Why? Because 2 has no image here. Exactly. So the reason why it is not a function is this 2 has been no image. This 2 does not have any image. So hence we cannot say it is function. So this is not a function. As per the definition, so every element of A should have an image. That is one and only one image. Let's consider second one. Is this a function? Second one. So many told no. Yeah, that's correct. Because every element has an image, but it has not unique image. Like one and only one image is not there. Because if you consider one, so it has two images. Since there are two images that are P and Q, so this is not a function. What about last one? 3. Yes, so this is a function that is correct because every element of set A has an image and it has only one images. So one is related to Q, 2 is related to Q, 3 also, 4 also. Every element in set A has only one images. So if you know this, this is a function. So if a function has a domain, right? So we discussed what is domain and codomain. So what is the domain of the function? Can you write in the chat box? The domain, codomain, and range for the given function. That is this for this function. The domain is Chinmay is telling the answer is 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's right. The input set or this set A. The set A we call it as a domain here. For the function we call this as a domain. Correct. So similarly, tell me what is codomain. Codomain and range you need to tell me. codomain is the set of B, Abhishek is telling, that's right. So codomain, you take it from the set B. Means all the elements in set B that will be considered as a codomain. So we'll consider P, Q, R, S, and T as a codomain. So what is the range? The range, okay, many telling Q, R, and S. The range is nothing but where the mapping has been done to identify that are, so Q, the mapping is there, R image is there, that, and S image is there. So only these three becomes the range where the image are there. So only those things you need to write. So hence the range of the function is Q, R, and S. Yeah. So now let's move on and welcome to the 12th class functions chapter. So last that we are discussing the types. We can also call it as a classification of the functions. I'll brief about what are the types of the functions available currently are. Let's say we can classify them as these four types that are one function, many one function, onto function, and into function. So let's understand this one by one. What are these four types in today's class? So this one and many one are opposite to each other, and onto and one and into. So what is this one function? Another name of one function is injective function. A function f. So we call this as a one or a injective function if the condition is distinct image of A have a distinct element of A as a distinct image in B. So every element of A, so that has a unique image in B, then that we call it as an injective function or one function, the distinct image. No set of elements has the same image. Okay. Suppose if you consider any two A1, A2 as a and A1 belongs A1. If A1 does not belongs to A2, then f of A1 is not, it does not belongs to. If A1 is not equal to A2, then f of A1 will also be not equal to f of A2. Or in other words, if we consider that if A1 is equal to A2, then it actually implies f of A1 is equal to f of A2. If it is not clear from the definition, you can see the diagram here. Let's consider the two sets, set A and set B. In order to say it is function, these images, that is 1, 2, 3, somehow these should have an image. But in order to say it is 1, it should have a unique image, not just an image, one and only one image. It should have the unique one, that is distinct image should be there. How? Let's say 1 is mapping to Q, and 2 is mapping to T, 3 is mapping to R, and 4 is mapped to S. So now if you observe, there is no such things like 1 to Q is there, such that 2 to Q, something like this, it is not there, where all the images that we got, that is Q, R, S, and T, are actually unique, where it is coming from the distinct elements 1, 2, 3, and 4. So such types are called the one function. Is it clear, one function? But how do we use this one in the problem solving? So understand this. For checking the one function, for example, in your problems, so these are the steps you need to follow. That are, the first thing is consider the any two arbitrary elements, that is A1, A2, or X1, X2, something like that, and substitute that one. Put f of A1 is equal to f of A2, or f of X1 is equal to f of X2, and solve the given equation. And then if you get A1 is equal to A2, then that we call it as a one function. So these two to three steps you apply here in order to say whether the given function is one or not. Yeah. So what is reversed means? Now show that the function f such that n mapping to n. So check whether it is given 1 1 or not. So how do you show this one? It is 1 1 function. So the steps you need to recall here is very simple steps only. It is 1 1 correct. So by example, it is mapping from natural numbers to natural numbers. And the function is defined as 2x. So take x1 is equal to x2 belonging to n. Let f of x1 is equal to f of x2, that you need to assume in the initial. And then apply as defined in the function. So f of x1 you substitute as f of 2x1 and f of x2 as 2x2. So you'll get x1 is equal to x2. So since you are getting x1 is equal to x2, when you are taken f of x1 is equal to f of x2, then such type of function we call it as an 1 1 function. Right. So such type of function we call it as a 1 1 function. Let's move on and understand the another type, the opposite of 1 1 function. What if the function is not 1 1? So that is many 1 function. It is just like an opposite of 1 1 only. Like if a function is mapping from A to B, we call this as the many 1 function. If there exist more than one or at least two distinct elements in A whose image is same as B. There should at least exist more than one or at least two element whose image is same. For example, if you consider A1 and A2 belonging to A and A1 is not equal to A2. If A1 is not equal to A2, then sometimes you might get f of A1 is equal to f of A2. Or you can say in the diagram, that is, consider the two sets, that is A1 and A2, where there is a mapping such that so 1 is given to Q and 2 to T and 3 to R and 4 to R. If you observe here, so 1 is mapping to Q, 2 is mapped to R, but whereas 3 is mapped to R and 4 is also mapped to R. Is it many one function, right? So such type of function is called many one because so there are certain elements of A, here it is 3 and 4, such that so you'll get more than one or at least the image is same here. The image is same, that is R only you are getting. So such type of functions we call it as a many one function. So checking for the many one function, the steps remains the same, just like an how you were doing in the previously. That is, consider any two arbitrary elements A1, A2, and put f of x1 is equal to f of x2, and then if you solve, the last thing that changes is A1 should not be equal to A2. If it is equal, then then it will get a 1 1. If it is not equal, then we can say it is a many one function. Okay, so take this as an example and try whether it is 1 1 or many one. Now, the function is mapping from the integers to the natural numbers, and we are getting f of x is defined as x square. What type of function is this? So many to one is that mapping from one element of set A is mapped to the set B. Yes, correct. with two or more elements. So this is many one. See, so again I'll recall what is one and what is many one. So understand the difference between these. If x1 belongs to x2, yeah, wait 1 second, I'll ask. So the doubts are coming. After this, I'll tell. Let me finish this example, that is x1 is equal to x2 belonging to I. If we consider f of x1 is equal to f of x2, then we can say x1 square, because it is defined as x square. X1 square is equal to x2 square, we can write. But if you solve this one, that is x1 square minus x2 square is equal to 0, we'll write. And then we can write x1 minus x2 into x1 plus x2 is equal to 0. So what we can tell? So whether x1 is equal to plus or minus x2 is will get. So we don't get x1 is equal to x2. So hence we can say this is a many one function. Hence we can say this is a many one function. Yeah. So now I'll revise. Let me tell you. So there are doubts are coming. So now you can ask the doubts. So the difference between 1 and many one. Can you tell me what is the difference between 1 and many one? So both are functions only. The functions is said to be many one. And when can we say it is 1 and when can we say many one? And when can we call it as a function? One means a single image. We can tell the difference by telling the points. So what is 1? The very first thing. First you can tell me what is function. So when can we say any given thing is a function? So the very first point I would say is, if there is a mapping set A, so each element like 1, 2, 3, or I'll write a circle here. This each element should have like this arrow mark, the mapping should be there. Isn't it? The set B. And if we consider the set B, the thing is every element should have this set of mapping, or I'll write these points. So always remember this one. Every element is mapped. So when will we know when to use? Yeah, first understand the difference between. So what is 1, what is function, and what is many one? So 1 is itself is a function. So every element in set A is actually mapped. So like this, it is mapping is there. So this is the first point. And here, so what should be there in the B, that is in the B set? So it should have only one image. This every mapping should have only one. Every element is mapped and it is only one. And only one arrow mark should go. One and only one image. It means no two element like this should not be there. So only one image. So this should have one image. Any function should have one image. In order to say, so that's what the function is. For 1, in order to say any given function is 1, the thing should be there is it should have the unique image. That's the difference. Like everything should be mapped as because it's a function, and here, and this should be the unique image, like the image that you'll get now here. So that should be unique. Means no two element has more than one image. So that is 1 1. Whereas for a many one, so it is also like a function where everything is mapped. Everything is mapped, but the images may not be unique, even though it has one image. So it has no unique images. Like for example, you can consider like this. So it is, so both the things are mapped to only one image. So it may map to other one. Even though all the three things has unique image, other things has only one image. So for us here it is unique. No two element as here. Here it may not be unique, not unique. But for both the cases, it has one image only. Is it clear? One image but not unique. Here one image but it is unique. Exactly right. So this, yeah. So once you understood what is this one function and many one function, can you answer this question? The concept. This time I'll be launching a poll. You can answer the question in the poll, or if you want to write in the chat box, you can write. Which of the following is not injective? The injective meaning here is, the injective means one function, not injective means many one function. So if one element of A is matched to two element of B, then so then that way that is not a function. Darshan. So the Darshan doubt is, see here. So if one element of A, if this is a set A, if one element of A is mapped to two elements, more than two, it is like, so one image, in order to say it is function, we need to have one image only, right? But here we have two images. Here we have two images, since it is not a function itself. If it is not a function, then it is not onto or one to nothing else. Yeah, so okay, the previous one, correct. So try answering this one. So I'm getting a doubt regarding this previous one. So option B, I will explain that one. Once you understand this part, I'll come back and I'll explain that. So option B. So which of the following is not injective? Not injective means, so go with the options. Here we need to go, so along with the options and see which of the following is correct. Let's go for option E. So now you need to see, try everything, like, is it 1 1? Is it 1 1 will satisfy, or is it many one will satisfy? For both the cases, the first thing, what is the step that we do is considering f of x1 is equal to f of x2, that we'll write. Consider x1 comma x2 belongs to where it is belonging to R, the set of real numbers, and consider f of x1 is equal to f of x2. So what is f? If you take this example, like x1 cube plus 4 is equal to x2 plus 4, right? So here 4 will get cancelled. Cube is there.
Hi guys, so there is some glitch in our teacher's audio, I mean laptop. So till then, please wait. Don't close chat. So hope everyone is doing good and great guys. You are answering all the questions.
Hello, am I audible, students? Yeah. So I just got disconnected and connected again. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So we'll continue that one. So I was telling x1 cube and cube are there. So will it imply actually x1 is equal to x2? So is it right? Will it imply x1 cube is equal to x2 cube is there? No? Will it imply x1 is equal to x2? Yes, because the cube is there, no, and we are getting for real numbers. That is R, the set of real numbers. So hence, what we'll write is for a cube. So what are the roots that we'll get if you solve? We'll get one real root and two imaginary roots, the complex one. So that imaginary root does not belong to our domain. Hence, we can take only the real one. So this is the correct. So if this satisfies, what we'll get? So it is a 1-1 function. This is a 1-1 function. Option A. So it is not injective. It is. So if we consider option B, it is similar. Quite similarly, here the set is natural numbers, but still we'll get x1 is equal to x2 only. So hence that is also 1 1 function only. Now let's try the last that is this. If we consider option C, what will get option C? Here the function is different. So let's take x1 square plus 4 is equal to x2 square plus 4. So 4 will get cancelled. X1 square is equal to x2 square. What does this imply? This imply x1 is equal to plus or minus x2 will get. Why plus or minus x2? Because there is a real number. So we are defining for the real number where x belongs to the real number. So real number contains both positive and negative numbers. Hence, so what is the conclusion now? So this is many one function. So this is the many one function. And the last thing is option D. If you consider here, the question remains the same, but here it is a natural number. So for a natural number, so x1 is equal to x2 only you will get, but you don't get a negative number. It is not defined. So hence here this is 1 function. So is this concept clear to everybody? Is this concept clear? Have you understood? Hmm. Yes. Okay then. So till now we discussed regarding this 1 and 2 function. If you have any doubt regarding that, so these functions, the topic that we related, like the functions, you can comment now. The functions, any doubt if you have, you can ask. So in the next class, we'll continue the remaining types and we'll solve more questions on those 4 type of functions. So we are in the end of this meeting. So if you have any doubt regarding the functions, you can write in the chat box. So before you leave, try. So I have last day poll. You can give the feedback. So if there is no doubt, and if there is no doubt, then that's all. You can leave the session. And those who have a doubt, you can stay for another 5 minutes. I'll explain the concept, whichever you have doubt. And in the tomorrow's class, we'll continue with the further, like what is 1 and 1 2 is done. Another type of function will solve more questions regarding those functions. So no doubt. Yeah, then. So thank you for attending our class. One, sir, on to function. So the on to function that we'll explain in the next class, Amit. Onto and into function that will explain the next class.